What is going on, guys? What is up, everyone? How's everybody doing? Of course, hold up. We got Hashim in here. We got to show him love. Let's go, champ. Keeping the record alive. Episode 12. Hashim, every single episode. First, got a comment. And we always get that ceremonious, let's go, champ. What's going on, brother? Hugh the Dev. How's it going, brother? Ed V. I'm good. And yourself? How you doing? Greetings from Fleb. So today we're going to do something a little unique, a little different. We're going to talk about this KSI fight, right? Because of the Misfits fights that they've put out, of the DAZN Series X fights that we've seen, I think this card is actually super deep within the realm of YouTube boxing, right? Because we have KSI fighting a dangerous Joe Fournier. I know a lot of people think, oh, nah, Joe Fournier, man, he ain't going to do much, man. He going to lose and whatever. You know, he's a billionaire. He don't really care about it. But I saw Joe Fournier fight on the on the Mike Tyson undercard, I believe, versus Roy Jones Jr. on Triller. And he seemed like he had good, sound, technical boxing skills. He didn't look like a world beater, right? Like he was gonna just be fighting for undisputed or whatever. But he did look like he knew what he was doing. He looked like he had a technical base, which means to me that he actually trains in boxing and he knows what he's doing to a certain extent. Granted, when he fought David Haye, I mean, there's levels to this, right? There's levels to this, but KSI though. There's a possibility, man. It's a possibility Joe Fournier can beat KSI. Now, thinking about this card, let me see if I could pull up what this card is looking like, because I want to see. Let me see. Hold on. KSI versus Fournier. Like, I know Salt Poppy is fighting on it, which that's another big fight within the YouTube boxing world. But I want to see, hold on, KSI versus Fournier card. Let's look at this card real quick. Complete list of fights by Sporting News. Let me see. Okay, so we got Deji is fighting Swarms. That's a big deal. Deji's like a little, a superstar when it comes to YouTube boxing, especially how difficult it was for him to learn boxing at first and finally get to that point where he got good enough where he was able to beat somebody. Now we got to see, can he beat somebody else? So Swarms is the person that he's going to be fighting. Let's see what happens there. Salt Poppy versus Anthony Taylor, another big fight, because Anthony Taylor's been knocking people out like crazy, doing damage, but Salt Poppy's been real skilled too. He's been doing his thing. So we might get a whole, Salt Poppy kind of like, is this going to challenge Salt Poppy finally when it comes to Anthony Taylor? So that's actually a really good one. And then we also have Wing Zero versus Boogie, which is just interesting on its own, considering the fact that they combined, let's switch over here so you guys can see this, but combined, they might be the most weights combined that we've seen in a boxing fight, in a professional box. I could be wrong. There could be other people that have weighed more combined, but I mean, Wings of Redemption is 400, and let me switch it over so you guys can see. Wings of Redemption, switch over to here. You guys see it right there, right? Wings of Redemption is 404.3 pounds, and Boogie 2988 is 391.6 pounds. And they combined for 795.9 pounds. And if you're in the UK, almost 57 stones ahead of their 3 1.5 minute rounds fight. Okay, so they're fighting 3 rounds. Each round is only 1.5 minutes. Now it looks like it's looking like these fights are becoming almost like the love and hip hop for YouTubers. Like if you're a YouTuber and you're not as popping as you used to be, it is possible that you get an opportunity because of your history of being on YouTube and people knowing you to come onto a platform to box. So it's looking like this is giving people, like, I don't know, maybe this is a new strategy or plan for YouTubers to figure out ways to get back into the public specter, right? That's what it's looking like for me. By the way, guys, I'm already seeing it, but I gotta mention it, guys. I cannot talk about hold on one second. I cannot talk about Undisputed. So you can't ask me about Undisputed because contractually I can only talk about Undisputed on their social media, on their platforms, on their YouTube. Can't talk about it on here. So please don't ask me any of those questions. They're not going to get posted up on the screen. I'm not going to be talking about them in any way, shape, or form. It's just going to be strictly in real life boxing. But I still will talk about boxing video games, but not Undisputed. I can talk about any other boxing video game, but not Undisputed. So, for example, if Fight Night Champions 2 ever gets announced or dropped or anything, I can talk about it, play it, all that stuff here. But can't talk about Undisputed. So please, just don't waste your time asking me. All right, hold on. Love and Hip Hop. Perfect analogy. LOL. Look what it did for Joe Budden. Exactly, right? So those kind of, I feel like YouTube boxing is very mutually beneficial for everyone involved, right? Boogie, I haven't heard of Boogie 2988 for a long time. Like, what, Boogie 2988, and then I see him and I'm like, oh man, he's fighting Wings of Redemption. Oh, this is crazy. I remember both of them. And Wings of Redemption was known for like going off on his chat and going crazy. Boogie 2988 was kind of known for doing that too, but like acting, which I don't know. I think Wings of Redemption was not acting. I'm not sure. But they had like their thing, right, online. And they were popular at once upon a time, but they're not really popular now. But it's still interesting to me to see them. One, of course, they are coming in at an incredible combined weight. So that's an interesting thing. How are they going to fight? Because the weight is going to cause some issues. So how exactly they're going to fight? That's also like something interesting to me as well. Guys, we got 15 people in here already. Hit the like if you haven't. Please hit the subscribe if you haven't, so we can get this video shared to as many people as possible. We're in here having a conversation. We got Zerky. What's up? What's going on, brother? David Morales. Hi. What's up, my mans? How y'all doing? So I think that this may be the best Misfits card that they've put together. This may actually be the best Misfits card that they've put together. We got KSI here doing his weigh-in with Joe Fournier. And I believe they made weight. I don't think there was any problems with making weight or getting in weight or whatever. I think everything is all right there. I think Fournier is making fun of his height, saying he's too little. But yeah, this is gonna be a fun fight. And now I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys my prediction. So here's my prediction for KSI versus Fournier. Before I say my prediction, I want to know what you guys think. I always like to hear what you guys think first. So if you guys, whoever's here, whoever's in the chat, let me know who you guys think is gonna win this fight before I give my prediction on who I think is going to win. Terry Williams, do you think someone is ever going to get hurt doing this? That is very possible, actually. It's very possible. If you're not training, the only thing that balances it out a little bit, just slightly, is that it would be way more dangerous if it was a professional boxer with a lot of time and skills and you know, time in the gym practicing, and then they put that person up against a person who's never boxed before. But that's not what's been happening in the YouTube boxing landscape. It's been very fair for the most part. I think with the Jake Paul, like people thought things were fair, but they didn't really know how much skill he has. So him versus Nate Robinson seemed fair at the time. I mean, before that, he was just fighting YouTubers, right? So it's like, oh wow, this is an athlete. This seems fair, but then once he decimated Nate Robinson, then we realized, okay, this is not fair. So, I mean, even when he went against Ben Askren, it seemed fair, but then when he decimated him, it was like, okay, he's a combat guy, but he's not a puncher. You need to fight a puncher. So, and then after Ben Askren, I think it's been fair for Jake Paul fights. But yeah, as long as it's on an even playing field, I feel that it's not as dangerous as if it was, to one person being really skilled and know the sport well and knows how to throw power punches, and then another one that just doesn't, like a YouTuber versus a real boxer. I think that's when it gets dangerous. Whenever a YouTuber wants to face a real boxer, it's gonna get dangerous if they're not taking it serious. I imagine that these fights are not going to be serious fights, right? Like the way they're gonna punch, it's not gonna have any power behind it. They're not gonna know how to generate power behind it. Basically, to me, is as long as you keep it a level playing field, it's always going to be entertaining. And this is an argument I've always made to a lot of people. And let me go to the chat real quick, and then I'll explain what my argument is. And I made a video on this before a long time ago. I think I made a video on this in 2020 when people were like, "No, this is like the most horriblest thing" or whatever. And then I kind of explained why these things are still exciting. And I'll break it down right now, but give me 1 second. KSI by TKO. Okay, B87. KSI by TKO. Ben Askren. I reckon Ben Askren hops in and KOs both of them. Oh, so we going the WWF route, right? He might come in with a blue steel chair and hit both of them when they don't expect it, and then call both of them out for a triple threat match. David Morales, KSI by gifted decision. Wow, KSI by gifted decision. Okay, KSI stops him in the later rounds. Okay. YouTube Boxing 6007, what's going on, my brother? I see you in here. Yo. Sorry I missed yesterday's stream, bro. I was on a flight. Nah, don't worry. I actually did not go live yesterday, so don't worry. You didn't miss anything. I was not able to go live yesterday. But I might change my whole live stream setup. I might actually go live on alternate days. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I might do that. It all depends, because sometimes I get caught up with work and it's hard. I got to do work and finish work and then come in here. So I might do alternate days. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Let's see what happens. But we might move that route. Let's see here. Let's see. KSI by KO in round 2 or 3. I'm seeing a trend here. Would be cool to see KSI win, but something's telling me Fournier 3rd or 4th round TKO. Okay, Neo. Okay. I see a broken trend there, Neo. Oh, damn. You didn't go live. Guess I was flying at the right time. It's all good, brother. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Every time I don't go live, by the way, I always post, right? I'll post it on Twitter that I didn't go live. By the way, follow me on Twitter just in case. AP whatever. What's going on, brother? I think Fournier got it, bro. Okay. I'm going to have to agree with AP whatever. I know it seems blasphemous because we're talking about KSI, right? KSI, he the guy. KSI, he the guy. That rhymes. KSI, he the guy. So we can't go against that because we know he's the person creating all of this stuff and he has to win, right? But one thing that I think is cool about what KSI is doing is that he's truly challenging himself. And if you look back at Fournier's fight with, I think he fought a reggaeton artist, but he decimated him, but he showed good, level-headed, calm, control. I think that if his age doesn't get too much, too above, what's going on, the event and the youth of KSI in comparison to Joe Fournier, I think he has the ability to beat KSI. And the only reason I say this, unless KSI has improved. Now, let's look at KSI real quick. Let's look at some pictures because we're not bringing out videos anymore because we already know what happens when we do that. So let's bring out some pictures of KSI, right? This is KSI's actual favorite punch to throw. It's right here. This punch. This punch right here is KSI's favorite punch to throw, right? Now, he throws other punches sometimes, but usually you'll see him throwing this punch. Now, here he's mixing it up to the body. Here he's throwing it up on top. Once again, he's throwing it here again. And it's very telling that a lot of the photos, and we're even looking at the photos here, is very telling that a lot of the photos constantly catch him throwing that right hook. Now, technically speaking, KSI has become a better fighter. He's definitely a better fighter than he was during this period, for example. He's a much better fighter than he was during this period. And he's definitely a much better fighter than he was during this period, where he was really winging shots. I felt actually when he fought Logan Paul that Logan Paul was much more technically sound than he was. That's just my opinion. But even though Logan Paul lost because he was taken or deducted 2 points, which was very unprecedented for a referee to deduct 2 points in such a short amount of rounds, you basically said, I'm gonna make this fight either a draw or KSI is gonna win. So, in my opinion, I think Logan Paul did enough to win, but then got penalized with the 2 point deduction, which went way against him and made it really difficult for him to come back from it. But this is his favorite punch, that overhand right. Look, here he's throwing it again. It's very rare that you see him throw punches like this. Mainly, you're going to catch him setting up for the overhand right. Throwing the overhand right. He really likes to throw that overhand right. That's like his favorite punch, right? It's his favorite punch. But then we see things like this, which is kind of wild, and that's him throwing the overhand right, but he's only throwing it. That's an arm punch right there. When you throw it like that, that's an arm punch. If he turns, you're going to see his whole torso turn with him, and he'll have this arm up and this arm like this. The fact that this arm could cross over this arm means he basically threw it and winged it. But he's not that KSI anymore. He's 100% not that KSI anymore. He's this KSI, right? Or close to this one. He's improving. He's definitely improving. But I don't think he's improved enough to be able to beat Fournier. Now, if we look at, see if we could get a clip for George Fournier before. Let me just switch over while I look for it real quick. Let's see if I can get a Joe Fournier highlights. Let's see, Joe Fournier. And this way we could see, it gives us a better indication of like the tactic or the style of George Fournier. Now here's a perfect example. Now this is not the most technical. Let me see. Actually, nope, it's too pixelated. Unless, let's see if we could get something. He's a boxer. Like he boxes, right? Let's see if I get a good picture of George Fournier. This is why I switched over, because I didn't want to have to be searching for this. Actually, let me see. Let me put George Fournier boxing. I should have had this prepared, but bear with me, guys. Hold on one second. I can get it for you real quick. Hold on. Let's see here. Man, why is this so pixelated? Whatever. We're gonna go with this over here, right? There are things that Joe Fournier does incorrectly, but there are things that he does very well, right? Like you see, he's turning, he's torquing with the body. You see how he's on his toes over on his right side, so he's pushing that power from the foot up to the arm, through across the body into the arm to throw a powerful shot here. You see, this is a little bit, it's technically not the best. You know, it would be better if he had his hand up, but he's reaching in. He's definitely trying to reach in there. But basically, why I'm showing you these photos, and not to mention, the man went up against David Haye. And I don't care how old David Haye is. David Haye is a top-tier talent when it comes to boxing. He's a top-tier talent when it comes to boxing. So even losing to David Haye is good, because the fact that you were even able to fight him shows how, how much boxing ability you have. Then we have him. This is the fight where he fought. This is the fight where he fought the reggaeton artist. I think this is the one. He hit him here, but you can see how he turns his entire body. So he's turning his body, his torso's turning to land. Even though technically the best way for him to be is to have this arm up so that he could be protecting himself just in case. But he also is fighting somebody that he can see where his arms are. He sees how much he's flailing. He's probably very telegraph-y, so he probably sees the punches before they come, so he didn't feel too much pressure to keep this hand up. But regardless, there are technically correct things that he's doing here. He's not being the most defensively responsible, but there's technically correct things he's doing there. There's technically, this is really bad though, but at least he's turning his body. This arm should definitely be much closer to his chin, but he's at least turning his body here, right? So the thing that I want to impress upon you guys is I get that KSI is the star, but sometimes just because somebody is the star don't mean that they're automatically gonna win. Sometimes the star is truly trying to challenge themselves, and that is what KSI is doing. He is truly trying to challenge himself, but in the end, I believe that KSI will actually lose to Joe Fournier, and I think it might be by knockout. That's my prediction, and that's why I broke it down this way. Now, I could be wrong. It's hard to tell. It's hard to gauge how much improved is KSI and how old has Fournier become. It's hard to gauge, but if I had to make a guess one way or the other, or if I had to pick one or the other, I would pick Joe Fournier to beat KSI. So now let's go to the chat. Let's see what you guys have been saying. Hold on. We got AP whatever. What's good, bro? What's going on, brother? What's going on? He's taking a risk. Yes. I do believe he's taking a risk. Yes. His little exhibition with David Haye, you can see Fournier has decent instincts. Exactly. That's my point. My point is that Fournier, although he lost, he's fighting David Haye. I don't care how old David Haye is. He's David Haye. I mean, David Haye fought Vladimir Klitschko. You know what I mean? David Haye is David Haye. He's still got those, that's like riding a bike for some people. Look at how old Floyd is, and he'll still school a mid-tier guy in the pros, in the pro ranks, right? So him not winning against David Haye is just Fournier trying to test his skills against a really decent fighter that's not so old that he can't go in there and hang with Fournier. But KSI, the level of KSI to fight Fournier, kudos to KSI, because it's truly him testing how good is he, how well can he go up against somebody like a Fournier. I personally do not believe that KSI is ready for a Fournier. I just don't. Is he more popular than Fournier? Absolutely. Does that mean he's going to win? Absolutely not. Terry Williams. I think KSI athleticism is going to get him the win. But he could be athletic. He might be athletic. He might be athletic. That's fine. But do you think his athleticism is going to carry him all the way to the point where he outboxes Fournier or hits him with something that knocks him out and stuff like that? I don't know. I don't think it will. I truly don't think it will. I think that Fournier has enough tools for a KSI. Now, like I said, KSI is continuously improving. He's getting better and better and better. It's hard to say if KSI will be he has gotten better enough to deal with a Fournier. I don't think he has, but it is a possibility. That is something that can happen. Do I think that's the case? No. But we'll have to wait and see what happens on Saturday. And I'll be back on Monday to talk about that fight and break it down and talk about what happened and what have you. So we'll see. I'm not sure Fournier is skilled enough to counteract KSI's athleticism. I think he is. I think he's absolutely 100% skilled enough to counter KSI athleticism, because skills pays the bills. That's the number one most important thing when it comes to boxing. That's why somebody like a Floyd Mayweather could beat somebody that weighs like 20 pounds more than him. Like when Canelo fought Floyd Mayweather and rehydrated to like 17 pounds above the weight, and Floyd Mayweather still schooled him, because skills pays the bills. If KSI has a super athleticism but can't generate enough power in his punches to knock out Fournier or set up his right hook or his over looping right hook, as opposed to just throwing it, I don't think that he's going to have enough to be able to overcome Fournier's calm resolve and just figuring out how to tag him and take him out. I don't think he's going to have enough to be able to overcome that. But once again, like I said, I could be wrong. YouTube boxing is very strange, very weird. It's harder for me to judge who's going to win, who's going to lose in this space. But I do truly believe that Fournier, just from seeing how he's fought in the past, has enough to beat KSI. I think Fournier will get tired and KSI will take advantage of it. Okay, Isak. Okay, I hear you. Hey, listen, I'm not knocking your opinion on what's going to happen. I hear you. It would feel better. It would honestly feel better for me if KSI won. I would prefer KSI win, because if KSI wins, the Jake Paul fight is still on the table. If KSI loses, then Jake Paul would clearly fight Fournier. That would make the most sense. And then KSI will have to kind of do like a rebound thing where he's trying to figure out a comeback or whatever. And then that could probably potentially down the line get something with him versus Jake Paul. But if KSI loses to Fournier, then Fournier faces Jake Paul. Then Jake Paul beats Fournier. Then it almost completely decimates the KSI versus Jake Paul fight, because it's already on the fence where people feel that Jake Paul might have a little bit too much for KSI. So if we get to a point where we're now having him lose to Fournier, and then Fournier lose to Jake Paul, is just going to dig a deeper hole for that fight. So I would prefer 100%. Don't take my predictions as something that's wishful thinking or that's what I want to happen. That's not how my predictions work. My predictions are strictly based on looking at the two talents and seeing who I think is going to win based on analyzing both of those fighters. But really, I want KSI to win. I am predicting that Fournier is going to win because I have to be true to how I predict fights. I always do it based on analyzing the fighters, but I truly hope that I'm wrong so that KSI could win. If KSI wins, that will be awesome to keep selling the Jake Paul fight versus KSI. And then they're going to have a massive Misfits DAZN Series X crazy fight, right? They'll have an amazing fight if that happens. But, well, Jake Paul has to get past Nate Diaz for that to happen. But if he does, then we'll have an amazing fight. I think he's a better fighter than when he fought Pineda, but he's only knocked out bums that will lose to Fournier. Yeah, I believe that to be the case as well. Just as bad I think, but I want KSI to win. I just don't know if he'll do it. Same here. Literally same temperament here. I want KSI to win. I just don't know if he's able to do it over Fournier. But we'll see. Only time KSI's technique looked decent was against Temper. Phase Temper. Sorry, had to get a little bit of my salsa water. Hold on. All right. Yeah, I think KSI only looked good against Temper because Temper was a fish out of water. He had no business being in there, in my opinion. Yeah. Respect to Temper for taking the fight on short notice. That's a big risk. It is. You heard the Filipino fighter that died after his fight a few days ago. It was an event promoted by Pacquiao. It was the exhibition fight, right? Or was it? Oh, no, it wasn't an exhibition fight. Oh, man, I haven't heard about that. But rest in peace to him if that happened. I'm definitely going to go ahead and check that out. It's sad, and this is why boxing is not a sport that you play, man. Yeah, I mean, this is why it's important, to protect yourself at all times when you're in there, and to make sure you don't overdo it and fight somebody that you're not supposed to be in there with. Those are important things, and you never know, man. You never know, man. Boxing is a dangerous sport. That's why you never play boxing. You fight. It's never a game. All the other, you could play baseball, you could play basketball, but you don't play boxing. All right, here we go. I didn't even know Joe Fournier fought David Haye, so KSI got some trouble in front of him. Yeah, he did. He fought David Haye. He lost, but he fought David Haye. You think any of these guys will be fighting David Haye and even being in there with him? What? No way. I didn't know he fought Haye, so KSI might be in some trouble. Yeah, he fought David Haye, man. He fought David Haye. It's Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury all over again. Yeah, exactly. Remember, everybody thought Jake Paul was going to win because he was the star, right? Tommy Fury was becoming a star because of the fight with Jake Paul. So this is probably the same kind of scenario that's about to take place. We think that KSI has to win because he's a star, but Joe Fournier is actually a decent fighter, man. Even in the media workout, he wasn't even working out because he's like, why am I going to work out? Like, I don't even need to work out. Like, he's so calm, cool, and collected. It's crazy. He's so calm, cool, and collected is mind-boggling. But when you sit back and think about it, it's not really crazy because he's just comfortable. You know he's going to win. He knows he's going to win. He knows that it's not much of a challenge. Now, he could be wrong the same way I could be wrong, but we just going to have to wait and see. Damn, if KSI gets KO, Jake having a field day. Yeah. I mean, I don't think Jake wants him to get KO'd. I think Jake wants him to win because the bigger fight is Jake versus KSI. But if he loses to Fournier, that opens up Fournier to fight Jake Paul. And I think Fournier has wanted to fight Jake Paul, so this is the path. This is a smart path for him to take to get his name out there so that Jake Paul can't avoid him. And I think that this is a much closer fight between Jake Paul and Fournier, but I think Fournier could still beat Jake Paul. So this is how crazy it is. So, but I think Jake Paul makes it closer, makes it much closer where he might win against Fournier than KSI does, in my opinion. Let's see. I think a fight for KSI against Tommy Fury would have been the safer route. I could see KSI winning that one more than this one. Against Tommy Fury? Nah, he would probably lose against Tommy Fury as well. I don't see him winning against Tommy Fury. No way. It's definitely safer to fight Fournier than fighting Tommy Fury, in my opinion. My bad. What's up? My bad. Brad Carr, what's going on? I'm late. Have we got any Fournier highlights? Well, I can't put up any highlights. I was showing pictures of him striking. If you go back on the live stream a little bit, you'll see I was showing pictures of him, his striking, his positioning, and how he throws his punches, how his foot placement, and I was comparing it to KSI. We got the $6.99 super chat by YouTube Boxing 6007. Thank you so much, brother. I think Fournier is too old and slow. He's also uncoordinated, not as powerful like his record suggests he is, and is being weight drained by KSI. Wow. That's a big statement right there. You think he's uncoordinated? You think he's more uncoordinated than KSI? And you think he lacks more power than KSI's power? He definitely old. And he might be slow, but remember, timing beats speed. So even if, KSI is not a fast fighter. So, but even if KSI was fast, timing beats speed. And if you have skills, you could time somebody's whatever barrage they throw. You could still time it if you're skillful enough. And I think Fournier has more skills than KSI. AP, whatever. Yeah, it's crazy. Boxing is a dangerous sport, gladiator sport. Yes, 100%, man. Boxing 6000. That's why I have KSI by early knockout, because Joe was cherry picked for the younger, stronger, more athletic, and much more explosive KSI, who has a bit of boxing experience now. He's no novice, KSI, but he's not even close to the experience of Fournier. He's not a novice, but he ain't close to the experience of Fournier. Fournier has way more experience than KSI. And I don't think KSI cherry picked. This is the thing. I'm actually giving KSI so much credit because I truly believe that KSI saw he had to have seen the fight that Fournier had with David Haye. He had to see. He's not dumb, right? He's not gonna just fight him willy-nilly and don't know who he is from a hole in the wall. He's seen all the fights he had. He's seen his technical abilities. He's seen how he fights, and he's still willing to fight him. I truly believe. I feel like it's hard to think that these YouTube boxers are actually trying to see if they're better than someone and risking a possibility of losing. That's what Jake Paul did with Tommy Fury. That's what KSI is doing right now with Fournier. They're truly trying to test themselves. Like, all the credit to KSI. He truly thinks that he can go in there, and not because he thinks he's going to win, because he thinks that this will give him a barometer to see how good he is himself. So he truly wants to go in there and fight somebody that could possibly beat him. So kudos to KSI. Like, it's an amazing thing that he's doing that. And I don't think that is a cherry pick. I truly don't think that they said, this is an easy win. He's old or whatever. We're going to take him out of there. I truly don't think that that's the case. I truly believe that he wants to go against Fournier because he thinks he could actually beat Fournier. I mean, he thinks he could actually be challenged by Fournier and then see for himself how good he truly is. I honestly think Jake has a better chance than KSI against Fournier. Yeah. Me too. As I said before, I think Fournier versus Jake is a much closer fight. I think Fournier could still edge that fight out. It's possible, but Jake could edge it out. It's closer. It's much closer. It's harder to tell between Jake versus Fournier. But with KSI, I definitely think that Fournier might be able to take this one. I agree. So what happens with all this once Jake Paul and KSI finally fight? I think that's the apex. Once they fight, what is there? The cool thing about the Misfits, the Zone Series X, is that they're building stars, right? We have Anthony Taylor is being built up. He's like the Mike Tyson of this whole thing. And then we have Salt Poppy, which is like, he's like kind of like Manny Pacquiao, but he got a lot of skill and he's smooth in there. He has a very photogenic look, right? A very TV kind of, he has this look that you can't look away, right? And, you know, there's just all these people that they're building up. And then, for example, even Deji has his own thing going on where he looks really good, too. And he's kind of skilled as well. And he's getting better. And who's he going to be fighting next? And he got to fight Swarms now. And then what happens? And what if there's like a brotherly rivalry and maybe KSI and Deji go up against each other? They've had rivalries before in the past. They've not liked each other, like, really not liked each other before in the past in their YouTube history. So there's that element to it, right? There's so many different things that could come from this because different stars are being born. It's being spearheaded by KSI. Obviously, KSI is the spearhead. But I think that once KSI fights Jake Paul, that is the peak of that mountain between the whole YouTube boxing. And something else has to come, has to be built up after that. Same thing with when Floyd Mayweather fought Manny Pacquiao. That was the apex. That was the peak of boxing in terms of the interest of the fans, right? But then other things will start being built over time, and now we have things like Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury, which was entertaining, where people wanted to see that, and Tank versus Ryan and stuff. So I think they're building other people within this Series X thing, and it's still gonna be interesting. And the thing is, it's actually fun to watch in a weird way where it's not like you're watching professional boxing. I attribute this, I always say it like this, right? I like the Rocky movies and I like the Creed movies. It doesn't really represent boxing, right? Especially the Rocky movies where they're just constant punching each other. There's barely any defense. And it's almost like a bar fight movie scene, right? When you look at Rocky. But there's still something that's interesting about the fact that it's a boxing movie, and that it makes you want to watch a boxing movie because you like boxing, but you don't look at it like it's really professional boxing. You look at it like it's a movie. There's the same thing that could be said about the Misfits and the Zone Series X stuff in the YouTube boxing world. It's not really boxing, like in the way that and understand boxing, but you're still entertained by the fact that there are two people in a ring fighting each other. And even if they're not that good, this was what I was gonna say earlier, just them being at the same level is what makes it entertaining. Because we never actually, when we watch boxing, we don't always care to just see who's the best. Sometimes we want to see a good fight between two people who match up. And a perfect example is Arturo Gatti versus Mickey Ward. Both of them weren't the best in the division. They had multiple losses. There weren't anything that was like, who's going to be the number one pound for pound between the two. No one cared about that stuff. We just knew that they were so evenly matched, and it was such a great clash that we just wanted to see it happen. And that's the same way that I see this, right? If you could get two people that are evenly matched, that's all that matters. I know that they're not going to be professional fighters trying to win, the WBC world title. I get that. I know that. But that's not why I watch it. I watch it with a different eye. I watch it with a different mind frame or a state of mind when I'm looking at that. I'm looking at it as entertainment between two people that are of equal skill going up against each other. And every once in a while, we get somebody challenging themselves, of course, just like KSI is doing right now with Fournier, and how Jake Paul has been doing with Tyron Woodley and Tommy Fury. So, and even Anderson Silva. Jake Paul has been challenging himself a bunch. There were a bunch of risky fights that Jake Paul could have easily lost. So kudos to Jake Paul as well. Now I have to disagree. Jake and KSI smoked Joe Fournier. It's just that Tommy Fury is a half decent prospect. Fournier is a bum with a winning record, in my opinion, and he's also way past his prime. But he's been past his prime. He's not even like he's not a professional boxer in that sense. He's just a billionaire that decided that he wanted to box. So he's been past his prime for a minute. Like, he's just been boxing for a long time since he was younger. But he's not really a person that was, you know what I'm saying? He never really been there. Nah, you're right. I gotta check myself. Tommy Fury is a better fighter than Joe Fournier. Yeah, I'm telling you. KSI is not known for his speed, but the speed difference between the two is quite big. And I get that time and beat speed, but I don't think Fournier can take advantage of KSI's weakness what's ATP? I thought at the moment. I was thinking at the moment. At this time? I don't know. I think Fournier is a tougher fight for KSI than Tommy Fury, but not because Joe is better than Tommy. Just the styles make fights, and Fournier is willing to sit down on his shots, which is something. I can see what you're saying there. I still think that it'll be much tougher with Tommy Fury overall. But I see what you're talking about in terms of the styles and how Fournier kind of sits on his punches a little bit more. But we'll see. I didn't see it in the Jake fight with Tommy Fury. Brad Carr, who does Tommy Fury fight next? I don't know. Tommy Fury is an enigma right now because him beating Jake Paul just means he's not trash. Like, in the boxing world, that just means he's not trash. Does that mean he can beat anybody else in the actual boxing world in terms of to be high ranked? That's a different story entirely. That's a completely different story, and that's a harder thing to answer. So I don't know who he fights next. He definitely have to start stepping it up soon, but he doesn't have a deep amateur career. There's a lot of things with Tommy Fury that bring up a lot of question marks. So it's tough to say. And YouTube Boxing 6007 with another $6.99 super chat. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, brother, man. I appreciate you. You're always in here, except yesterday when I went live. And I'm just kidding, I wasn't live yesterday. Once KSI makes quick work of him, you'll see what I meant. I'm not saying KSI is good. He's just a tough guy, but he does lose to Tommy and Jake, in my opinion. So you think KSI will lose to Tommy and Jake, but you don't think he'll lose to Fournier. Hey, listen, you could be right, and I hope that you are. This is the weird thing. I hope that you're right. I'm going by me analyzing Joe Fournier and analyzing KSI, but I hope YouTube Boxing 6007 that you're right. I want you to be right and me to be wrong. That way we can get the KSI Jake Paul fight and it just becomes much bigger. Because if not, we'll just get a Fournier versus Jake Paul fight. That's what will end up happening. But hopefully you're right and I'm wrong. I want to be wrong in this prediction. I want so bad to be wrong in this prediction. So badly. And thank you so much for the $6.99 super chat. Again, thank you, brother. Thank you so much. Ludwig Bergenheim, has the event started? If so, who's fighting now? It hasn't, because it's tomorrow. Today was the weigh-in. So it didn't. It's a Saturday fight. It's May 13th. It's May 12th right now. So JMMA, what's going on, brother? Oh, snap. It's been a minute. Vidal Riley versus Tommy makes sense to me. Okay, that makes sense. That does make a little bit of sense. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, I could see that. I think Vidal Riley has a chance of beating him, though. But I could definitely see, I think Vidal Riley might beat him, but I could definitely see that fight being something that, now that Tommy Fury has kind of put himself in the YouTube zeitgeist, right, into the YouTube boxing world, if he likes it or not, Tommy Fury is part of the YouTube boxing world. if he likes it or not, right? So since he's in there and Vidal Riley is also kind of in the YouTube boxing world, them fighting could actually do some decent numbers. So we'll see. We'll see. YouTube Boxing 6007. I don't know who Tommy fights next, to be honest. Maybe KSI after he beats Fournier. Tommy Fury versus KSI would be insane. If Tommy Fury fights KSI, if KSI beats Fournier, and then KSI somehow beats Tommy Fury, oh my goodness. That would be insane. It wouldn't make sense for KSI to fight Tommy Fury if he already fought Jake Paul. So if he doesn't fight Jake Paul yet, Tommy Fury is a really viable option. I just really can't see KSI beating Tommy Fury. I think that is just too difficult. Like too difficult. But man. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's hard. Oh, God, Vidal would smoke Tommy. Oh, okay. Hey, listen, I think that too. I think he will win. Tommy should just keep beating up YouTubers and become the Tyson Fury of YouTube boxing. He probably would be. I mean, if he's fighting YouTubers, he probably would be. Vidal Riley, however, is a boxer who became a YouTuber. So this one's tricky. He's kind of a YouTuber. Everyone sees him as a YouTuber, but he's a YouTuber. He's a boxer YouTuber, not a YouTuber boxer. That's very different. Ryan Garcia is a boxer YouTuber, not a YouTuber boxer. And KSI is a YouTuber boxer. So those are very different things. If KSI does make easy work of Fournier in dominant fashion, does that then mean that Joe sucks or KSI is just good? That would mean that KSI is better than I expected him to be. That would mean KSI is actually good. Because with boxing, I'm telling you, you could be old, but you still got those little, it's like riding a bike. David Haye was old when he fought Fournier. It's like riding a bike. You could be old, but you still kind of got it. As long as you could move around, you could do things, you still kind of got it. So KSI has to overcome that knowledge that Fournier has in boxing. And anybody else could do it. Like any other boxer could do it. But KSI is a different thing. He's not really a boxer. He's a YouTuber who's learning to box over the years and he's getting better. But is he good enough to be able to beat him? I don't know. And I truly, my prediction is he won't do it. Which shows how cool of a guy KSI is, or how brave of a guy he is to try to go in there and beat somebody. And try to beat somebody that could possibly beat him. It's not a cherry pick by any stretch of the imagination. This is not a cherry pick. This is something to challenge him. No problem, brother. I understand what you're saying about YouTube boxers versus pro boxer argument, but Joe is a poor excuse for a pro boxer. Some of Tommy's opponents that were bums could beat him. Oh my gosh! Shots fired at Joe Fournier. Look like Joe Fournier don't got it. And according to YouTube Boxing 6007. Well, we're going to have to see. Once again, I hope you're right. I hope I'm wrong. But we're going to have to see come this tomorrow. Tomorrow. You guys watching it? Monday, we're going to go live. Of course, we're going to talk about it. But you guys watching it tomorrow? I'm definitely watching it. I want to get your opinion. Oh, JMMA, what's going on, brother? On the WBC trying to get Jake Paul ranked. Sounds like they're trying to get a slice of the pie. Yeah, that's weird. I mean, if he would have beat Tommy Fury, could you rank him? You could actually find a way to rank him. Now, would it be like he's going to be ranked number 5, top 5? Absolutely not. But you could find a way, right? Because Tommy Fury has been beating, people. He's not looked the best, but he's won those fights. It's tough, but he's bringing a lot of eyeballs to the sport, and he's bringing it to the legitimate sport because I think Jake Paul, of all the people that are doing all of these YouTube boxing things, I think Jake Paul is the most bridge gapping one of all of them, right? Jake Paul is not so much a YouTuber and not so much a boxer, which puts him literally as the bridge between that whole YouTube world into boxing. He'll fight boxers like Tommy Fury, right? He'll fight like an Anderson Silva who beat Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. And that gives him like that in between, like this realm that doesn't exist, that only he lives in that space, and that bridges the whole YouTube landscape with the boxing, the actual boxing landscape. So I think that they saw the popularity, because that's a big deal for them too, right? Like they're not gonna give you elevated belts or do different things or rank you if there isn't something there, in terms of like popularity. Like you have to also be popular. I think that Jake Paul being able to do numbers like 750,000 pay-per-view buys in this day and age, I think that's something that catapults him a little bit, and they're bending over backwards a little bit for Jake Paul's popularity, and because he's doing that little, like he's closer to boxing than all the other YouTube boxers. He's much closer. He's that bridge. I think he's the legitimate bridge between YouTube boxing and real box and real normal ranking boxing. While KSI, to me, I think he's still in the realm of YouTube boxing, but he's owning it, right? So KSI is in this space all on his own. He's owning that, and then Jake Paul is in this space all on his own, owning that. KSI is in the YouTube boxing space, but he's owning that. Like he's the one that's like running that really well with a tight ship, with the whole Misfit banner and all this stuff. So he has a whole company that's controlling it and making sure that these fights gets made and put on a big stage. So kudos to KSI for doing his thing to elevate the YouTube boxing scene. Kudos to Jake Paul for elevating himself within the in-between of YouTube boxing and real boxing. All right, Neo, I want to see KSI versus Salt Papi in the Philippines. KSI, that'd be cool. Oh, KSI could fight Salt Papi. That could be a thing. In the Philippines after this, then Tommy, and then if KSI loses to Tommy, we get KSI versus Jake, and the winner of that gets a Tommy rematch. That sounds like you just built a perfect script for the next 4 years or the next 3 to 5 years. KSI after this fighting Salt Papi in the Philippines, that would be huge for in the Philippines. Then Tommy goes against KSI, and then KSI might more than likely lose, but if he lost, so did Jake. But now we got to see who's better between Jake and KSI. It actually might make more sense for KSI to try his luck and beat Tommy Fury first. Because if he loses, there's this Jake Paul fight is still on the table. If KSI loses to Fournier, then Fournier versus Jake Paul goes on the table. But since Tommy already beat Jake Paul, it makes perfect sense for KSI to try to fight and beat him. And if he wins, amazing. The bragging rights will be through the roof for KSI. If he loses, the fight with Jake Paul is still on the table since Tommy beat both of them anyways. That's actually really smart. I really like that. I really like that. But do you think he's going to beat Salt Papi? I don't know if he could beat Salt Papi. I think Salt Papi might be able to beat KSI. I think Salt Papi might have enough to beat KSI. I think both Salt Papi and Anthony Taylor are pretty good. So we getting real, like these are some real good fights that we're going to get, man. Within the YouTube landscape, this is a real good fight. Wait, you got Joe beating KSI? Yes, I have Joe Fournier beating KSI. The man actually has boxing talent. He has boxing skills. So yes, I do believe that Joe Fournier will beat KSI. I think KSI is doing good. He's improving, but I don't think he's improved enough to beat somebody like a Joe Fournier. I just don't think he's that improved to be somebody like a Joe Fournier. I mean, look at the fight that he had with David Haye. Joe Fournier fought David Haye in a good fight where he was doing good things in that fight, but David Haye is just David Haye, right? You're not gonna beat David Haye, but George Fournier would still be doing his thing, and he does things technically sound, while KSI still lacks a lot of technical things that are rudimentary. Not rudimentary, I'm not gonna say that, but they're definitely things that you need to have as a base before you get into like high level boxing or get into that mid-tier boxing. And I think that KSI is lacking those, while Joe Fournier actually does have those things. This is, like someone said before, this is basically the Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury thing all over again, where people were already thinking that Tommy Fury was going to lose because Jake Paul picked him. This is KSI picking somebody that can beat him, but he's trying to challenge himself. But unfortunately, I think he will come up short. I do think that he will come up short. Neo, yeah, Vidal is a boxer that does YouTube on the side, and a damn good one. Yeah, I know, exactly. You got to be careful. Sometimes they get so mixed and mingled and mangled together that nobody knows who's who. But if you're a boxer that does YouTube, That's a whole different story if you're a YouTuber that does boxing. It's a completely different story. Yeah, facts. It's tomorrow. Exactly. I didn't realize it's that soon. I forgot I watched the weigh-in earlier. Yeah. Once if you see a weigh-in, that means the fight the next day. Because usually the weigh-in is the day before, unless there's some weird stipulation in the contract. Some of these fighters are probably going to get ranked. I could see it happening if the DAZN Misfit series has real longevity. Yeah. I mean, it does do well because it attracts the young audience, the audience that wants to see their favorite YouTubers fight people. I'm so interested to see what a Boogie 2988 versus Wings of Redemption fight is going to look like. I'm so curious to see what that's going to look like. I'm curious to see Salt Poppy versus Anthony Taylor because Anthony Taylor is actually really good. Is Salt Poppy good enough to deal with Anthony Taylor? Salt Poppy might be the better YouTube boxer, but we won't know until he beats someone like an Anthony Taylor, who's also a YouTube boxer that's really good. Then we got Deji testing himself again to see if he could, if he could win another fight, right? And then we also have KSI going up against Fournier. This is a real good card with people going against people that could actually win, right? That could actually beat each other. So I'm actually not gonna lie. I'm excited for this YouTube boxing card. I'm excited for this. And imagine all the knockouts we see over the years and all the progression in the fights. I'd imagine some would get ranked. That'd be dope. I mean, if it keeps going, it might go to a point where we see this like magical thing where somebody comes out of it, like maybe a Salt Poppy, who knows, comes out of it in the future that they can move into the real boxing realm and start climbing little by little. But we'll just have to wait and see. But if this continues, right, if this keeps going, someone will be so skilled that one day they'll start to try to make that transition the way Jake Paul did, and somebody might do that transition and be successful doing it. And maybe one day, we don't know, maybe 5 or 6 years from now, if it keeps going, 7 years from now, somebody might transition and win a title. You never know. I know it's crazy, right? But say, hey, crazier things have happened. You never know. The stars could align for one of these guys. That's a very smart analogy. Jake is still improving, but as of right now, he's not a boxer. Exactly. He's in the bridge, right? He's not a YouTuber per se, like a YouTuber boxer. He's not a boxer, but he is not. He's past that YouTuber boxer realm. He's in his own. He's in his own like space that no one exists in except himself, which is crazy. But Logan is focused on other things like Prime, WWE, so it'll never happen. I still think to this day think that Logan Paul, if he was actually active and having fights each year and fought lower level pros, journeyman, and prospects, has the most potential to make it as a pro. He had a good style when he was fighting for somebody that never fought before. He learned pretty quickly. In my opinion, he learned pretty quickly. But he had a lot of mistakes too. Like he always had his hands low and stuff. There was a lot of mistakes on Logan Paul's, and I remember how excited I was for when Logan Paul first fought KSI, because this was when the whole YouTube boxing thing was new, right? It was kind of like it was uncharted territory still. Like we had a KSI boxing match with Joe Weller, I think. I don't remember that guy's name, but I think I said his name correctly. And that was okay. That was a little interesting to see KSI fighting. But then when KSI fought Logan Paul, that was like such a big deal, because it's like usually all you see is these guys behind a screen talking trash to each other behind a YouTube video. But now it's like, no, they're fighting in the ring. So it was a very bizarre thing. Had over 10 million people buy the $5 or whatever it was YouTube pay-per-view. So it did really good. It did really well, and that sparked everything. I got Salt Poppy by decision. I think Salt Poppy might win this one too. Hell yeah, I was excited when I saw Boogie 2988 and was gonna fight, bro. That's gonna be fun. Yeah, that's a fun fight to watch. Like people want to pretend it ain't fun because they want to pretend like it's not real boxing and blah blah blah. But it's still fun, man. It's still fun to watch. Like Rocky Balboa ain't real boxing, but it's still fun to watch, right? That's a movie. That never happened. He never fought Clubber Lang. He never fought Drago. You know what I'm saying? Like, he never did that. He never fought Tommy Morrison in the middle of the street, like in front of a crowd, right? He never did that. So it's like you gotta just change the thought. Don't think of it as people trying to become undisputed. Just think of it as two, like, people going up against each other that are equal skill, trying to win, and probably in an entertaining way, because they don't really know how to fight. So it's kind of like this weird, kind of quirky, kind of entertaining thing that you're watching. All right, so we have ended the live stream. Well, the live stream has ended because we've hit 8 o'clock, which is 1 hour. 1 hour. This is what we do, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern time. We might switch the time frames from alternate days instead of doing every day. So it might be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That way I could be a little bit more consistent, because I don't want to not not be there. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to not do live streams when you're expecting it. So we're gonna talk about it, but that's probably the route that we're gonna go. Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, live streams. I'm not gonna be live tomorrow, AP whatever. Not gonna be live tomorrow, but we definitely gonna be live on Monday talking about the fight 100%. And of course, YouTube Boxing got to lead with the flame emojis, W stream, and a $2.79 super chat. Thank you so much, brother. Appreciate it. Appreciate all you guys. Peace out, Fanatico. Thank you, Neo. AP whatever. Thank you, brother. And YouTube Boxing 6007, of course, man. Thank you very, very much. Have a good weekend to you as well, David Morales. Or yes, I said that correctly. And I won't be live tomorrow. Stop saying see you tomorrow. I won't be live tomorrow. No, see you on Monday, bro. See you on Monday, guys. Until the next one. Thank you so much for showing up, showing out. Oh, hold up. Fanatico, my man Poe, what's going on, Poe? What's going on? We always miss you in here, brother. We always miss you. Thank you for coming by. Stay safe. You as well, brother. Peace out. This is the ending of the stream. I will see you guys on Monday. Peace, guys.